Christian leader who grabbed reporter's butt on TV arrested for sexual battery. I was like so surprised when I saw this. If you guys didn't see this, basically this reporter is standing in front of a news camera giving a report on I think a marathon, and there were runners running by the camera and waving behind her at the camera as they went, and she was just doing her broadcast. And this dude here, this dickhead, runs up behind her and slaps her ass. Like, what kind of a piece of shit do you have to be to do something like that? And you should have seen a look on her face. It was like complete shock. Like she had no idea what had just happened or how to process it or how to handle it. Like on live TV. This dude smacked her ass on live TV. Like, what is wrong with this guy? So, anyway, let's read the article. This one was by Hemant Mehta also. Tommy Calloway, the Pittman Park United Methodist church leader. Of course it was a church leader. Anybody surprised by that? Who slapped a reporter's butt during a race, has been arrested and released after paying a bond. Good. I'm glad he was arrested for that. Calloway had recently issued a half-hearted non-apology days ago. There's a typo there. I'm going to have to maybe leave some feedback and tell Hemant Mehta about that or something. Calloway recently issued a half-hearted non-apology days ago, saying he meant to touch reporter Alex Bozar. Wait, I need to get this name right. Alex Bozargian? I think that's it. Alex Bozargian on her back. Oh, I bet. Yeah, that's what you meant to do. Slap her on her back. Yeah, that makes complete sense. I understand now. Which didn't make him look any better. But after she pressed charges, he quickly turned himself in. Good. I'm glad she pressed charges. I'm glad that this is becoming like a big media sensation at this moment, because people need to understand that you can't just do shit like that and nothing happened to you. Like, you just don't seem to understand how wrong it is to violate somebody's personal space like that. Like, seriously. Calloway turned himself in Friday at the Chatham County Sheriff's Office and has since been released on $1,300 bond. Huh. $1,300 bond. Now, I know a little bit about how the prison system works and the bond system and everything. So this is my understanding of it. Typically, they will set amounts for certain charges, right? So if you if you commit felony larceny, so that's where you steal something that's worth more than $500, I think. It varies from state to state. But let's just say that's the case. It's a felony larceny. Your bond is $10,000. You can either put something up of value that's worth $10,000 and you basically sign it to the court. And if you don't, they'll let you out of prison. And if you don't come back for your court date, they take that thing that was worth 10 grand. So a lot of the time, families will put their houses up as bond for somebody who is dealing with that. So if your house is worth like $100,000 or something, you put the house up as bond, and you're basically guaranteeing the court that you are going to make sure that this person makes it to the courthouse. And if they do make it to the courthouse for their court date and everything goes jolly, then they just hand it back over to you and it's done. Like, that's it. The other option is paying cash. I think you can pay 10% of that amount in cash. So if it's $10,000 bond, then you can pay $1,000 in cash, and you will get the cash back at the end of, like after you've gone to court and everything, they'll give you the cash back. And that's how bail bondsmen make their money. Basically, they put their money up for you to get out of jail, and you pay them that $1,000. And then at the end of it, they get their $1,000 back too. So basically, they put their name up, their reputation, saying, if this person doesn't make it into court, then I will hunt them down. And so you're paying them $1,000 for that, and they get their $1,000 back at the end of it too. So anyway, that's how it works. But it looks like here he got $1,300 in bond, not in bail necessarily, which I think is cash. So he could have paid $130 in cash and gotten out if he had wanted to. I'm not sure what he put up for bond. Anyway, in a brief email Friday, Bozargian's attorney, Gloria Allred, said Alex is looking forward to justice in this case. According to her police report, Calloway committed a smack and grab in which he also grabbed her buttocks in the same motion. God, what a piece of shit, man. This just makes me sick. Just imagine, like, your wife standing there doing her job, and this dickhead walks up and does that shit to her. Imagine that. Imagine what you would feel. Or your daughter. Just think about that. It says, that's a far cry from Calloway's own insistence that he was just trying to wave to the camera and simply got caught up in the moment. You can't control yourself, then you shouldn't be around society, seriously. The church put out a statement saying Calloway had stepped back from his role there, which was in a voluntary capacity, but it's unclear if and when he'll return. Yeah, this guy's life is pretty messed up at this point for this mistake he made. It's a pretty big mistake, honestly. Like, this isn't a small thing. People seem to, like, downplay this. Like, oh, it's just one mistake. It's no big deal. You know, who cares? You don't seem to understand, like, the gravity, like, what this did to this person. Like, I don't know that it's possible to really completely understand unless you're in that type of a position. Just try to, I'm trying to, like, visualize this, put it into a perspective that a male could understand. Imagine some guy walking up to you and grabbing your junk on live camera while you're trying to report. Imagine what you would feel in that case. Like, that's probably the best that I could do to try to portray it. I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of what this, what this woman felt, because I feel that same kind of infuriation when I think about it happening to, like, my daughter or my girlfriend. But like I said, I wasn't in that position, and I don't know that I could really be in that position. So I can only understand it to a certain extent, but I know it would infuriate me. If you like what I do and you want to make sure I can continue to do it, you can support me in a few ways. First, you can support me on Patreon. That's probably the best way. But if you want to get something back for your support, you can check out my Teespring. I'm trying to make a shirt design for every cult I've covered. I haven't gotten every one, but I'm working on it. So check it out and see if your cult is up there. Second, you can support me by checking out my game shop. I sell controller, cartridge, and game box stands for every system from the original Nintendo and Sega Game Gear to the Xbox One and Nintendo Switch. So give that a look too. And finally, if you want to support me in some way other than monetarily, you can check out my other YouTube channels. I have a retro game channel where I answer questions like, why does Shy Guy have a mask? And why are CRT TVs the best way to play retro games? I also have the podcast where I talk about stuff I don't feel I can say on a monetized channel. And finally, I have my main channel where I talk about cults. I wish I didn't have to worry about dancing around subjects carefully in the first place, but I chose to do this as a full-time job. So unfortunately, I rely on YouTube's AdSense and on the support of patrons to continue doing the work I do. Anyways, check me out in all those places if you haven't already. Thanks for listening, guys.